Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back. Welcome to a new style of video that I'm hoping to do every so often, probably about once every week or 2 weeks. I'm just going to do kind of a news update, like a roundup of all of the things that have happened with English Pokemon cards over the last couple of weeks. The reason I'm giving this a shot is I figured that not everything that happens is going to need its own video, or that I can always get videos turned around in time. And I figured, people don't have time to be watching videos every day or keep me up on stuff, so I figured like a nice roundup hitting all of the main major news points would be a good one. So we're going to try it out, and hopefully you guys can give me some feedback, let me know what you think. Let's get straight into it. First news item to talk about is the Rain City Pikachu promo. Now this one was over a couple of weeks old at the moment. Like I said, future videos will hopefully just get a 2-week time block, but this is a Pikachu promo card that was basically not announced anywhere until it actually came out. On October 11th, there was a basketball game up in Seattle as part of a Rain City showcase, which was presented by the Pokemon Company International. Now, a few days prior to the event, they'd revealed that they were going to be selling Pokemon-related merchandise there, things like hoodies, t-shirts, caps, that kind of thing, with a Pokemon logo on and a Rain City logo on it. What they didn't reveal was that there was going to be an exclusive promo card for the event. Everyone who attended the event got this Pikachu promo with the Rain City logo on it. It's a variant from the Paldea Evolved set, same artwork and everything, just with that Rain City logo on the card. Now, I believe that the reason that they didn't announce this in advance is that they didn't want a lot of people flooding the arena trying just to get their hands on these cards and then, leaving before the basketball game or anything had happened. They wanted people who actually wanted to see the game to be coming along and getting the cards. Obviously, the card's been quite high demand, but even now, about 2.5, 3 weeks on from the actual event, there are dozens and dozens of these cards on eBay. There has never been a time where you couldn't go onto eBay and buy any amount of them that you wanted. Obviously, the buy it now prices are a little bit higher than where the auctions are ending. Seems that the auctions are ending around in the 100 to 150 range, whereas buy it now is you're probably looking at about 200 to 300 if you actually want to go and just get it immediately. It was estimated, though, that there's about 20,000 people at the event, so I don't see the supply of these cards drying up anytime soon. Next up, Costco went and dropped a couple of special release boxes on us. First, I've got one here. This one here is the Paldean Fates bundle. We also have a similar one, which comes with 151. Both these comes with a set of 5 mini tins from their respective set. The Paldean Fates one, we have a Pikachu, a Fido, a Greavard, and a Maschiff, all from Paldean Fates. And they all have both the reverse holo pattern and the Cosmos foil pattern that we've previously seen on previous Costco boxes, plus that very special Mentor Voltorb we talked about on the channel fairly recently around NAIC, and the current Professor Cup promo, the Community Center. The Paldean Fates one was available on Costco's website. You could just order it direct from the website, but I think I got lucky when I ordered mine because they have actually now taken it off the website, so it was only available for about a week to actually order, and I've heard reports of it being seen in some Costco stores, but none of the ones around me actually had this one. The 151 box is a similar kind of product, like I said, the 5 mini tins from 151, and it has that reverse and Cosmos version of all of the starters: Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and Pikachu. That one, again, I've not seen any stores around me, and also I don't believe that one was ever available for purchase online. So that one is a bit harder to get at the moment, but from talking to people at Costco, I do believe both of these boxes are going to be stocked coming up pretty soon, so hopefully there's going to be a much bigger supply hitting the market soon. And speaking of 151, a lot of people probably already know that the poster collection, which featured Cosmos foils of Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle as Black Star promos, has been reprinted and has been showing up at Dollar Generals lately. Well, if you are as obsessive about variants as I am, you need to try and track one of those down, because this has pixel versions of the Cosmos foil. I've talked in other videos before about the difference between smooth and pixel. It's basically 2 different types of Cosmos foil. Pokemon doesn't really see it as an intentional variation, but when you know it's out there, you can go and track them down. So the original printing of the poster box had smooth Cosmos, and then these reprints have pixel. Now we're going all the way back to the HGSS era of the TCG. Yes, a long time ago. You may have seen in some other videos I definitely talked about the Lost World promo that was seemingly never released, but had a copy accidentally given out at NAIC. It was in the trade binder. This is NAIC 2023. It was in the official TBCI trade binder. Someone traded for a copy and talked about it because I couldn't find any information on it. Since then, another copy of that card popped up. in someone's private collection. They said they believed that they got one copy of that card in a pack of other cards that were sealed. Well, now a store in North Carolina has posted in a collection that they bought from a customer, not only do they have 2 more copies of this Lost World promo, they also have a copy of Twins and a copy of Lost Remover, both with that same foiling type and the Play Pokemon logo that would suggest they were player rewards, but which also seem to have absolutely zero documentation online, potentially suggesting, that these 3 cards were an intended Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 stage of player rewards, and were cancelled, and potentially it was when the system was changing over, and they moved to, the system with Catcher, where top 100 people got something. We don't really have any information on these. All I can basically say is, the fact that one of these exists means thousands of these exist. If we're talking about rarity of these cards, we can't be talking about how many are printed, we have to be talking about how many are actually in circulation outside of TPCI. And so far, these are the only ones we've seen. Now, as I've always said with the Lost World, I would love to be proven wrong on this. I would love it if someone could come and show me actual documentation from, around 2010, 2011 when the HGSS era was happening and say, oh look, here is a post somewhere of someone who did receive these as player reward promos, someone who got these at some event at the time. But I've looked as much as I can and I can't find any mention of them online for either before NATS NAIC 2023 for the Lost World or before the last couple of weeks for the Lost Remover or Twins. If you find anything, please let me know though. And of course, if any of you guys have any copies of these 3 cards anywhere in your collection, be sure to let me know as well, and we can definitely discuss that, try and figure out where they came from. We've also had a recent announcement of some new promo cards tied to Pokémon Horizons. Now, for people that don't know, Pokémon Horizons is the current anime. It's the first anime series since Ash and Pikachu left the series. It features a lot of new Scarlet Violet Pokémon, including a storyline based around Terrapagos. Now, we already knew that there was a box set coming out called the Grand Adventure Collection, which was going to feature Black Star promos of Sprigatito and Fuecoco, plus a jumbo card called Terrapagos and Friends, which would all have the Pokémon Horizons logo on the card, tie into the series. So rather than being Black Star promos, these cards will be variants from sets. The Fuecoco, Quaxly, and Terrapagos will be from Surging Sparks, but for some strange reason the Sprigatito is from Paldea Evolve, not entirely sure why. The release of these cards are going to be at different stores, as with a lot of other promotions. The idea is you spend $15 or more at a store and you get one of these cards. In the US, it's going to be GameStop, Best Buy, and the Pokemon Center that have these cards, with Terrapagos being available at any of them, GameStop having Sprigatito, Best Buy having Fuecoco, and the Pokemon Center having Quaxly. In Australia, they've announced that EB Games will have Terrapagos and Sprigatito, and JB Hi-Fi will have Terrapagos and Fuecoco. For Canada, they've announced that GameStop's going to have Terrapagos and Sprigatito, and Toys R Us are going to have Terrapagos and Fuecoco. There's currently no details on if any other countries are getting this promotion, or if Quaxly is going to be available anywhere other than the US Pokemon Center. We'll hopefully do an update once we know more. Couple of quick little things before we get onto our main news item. So for Pokemon Regionals, as most people know, Regionals have a promo card that goes out to players and a staff stamped version that goes out to the staff. Well, after only 1 Regionals where they used Carmine from Twilight Masquerade, Regionals has now moved on and regional promos are now Briar from Stellar Crown. So this card exists in both regular and staff version. A quick product drop that we had as well was the Trainer's Toolkit for 2024. Now this is generally aimed at people who are getting into playing and are building decks, but there are a couple of exclusive cards in there you're going to want to look out for if you are a collector. The first is the Black Star promo Squawkabilly EX. That is going to be Black Star promo number 160. This Trainer Toolkit comes with 2 of those. And also you're going to find a non-holo version of Ditto from 151. And again, the kit does come with 2 of those, which has worked out well for me because I was able to buy 1 for myself in law. And finally, the news that has been the reason this video has taken so long to do, because this piece of news has changed 3 or 4 times, has had more and more added to it since I first wrote it down. The Asia Tournament Series. So people will know, I've talked about a lot on podcasts and stuff before, there are tournaments that happen in Asian countries which give out English language promo cards. The first run of them gave out a lot of Ultra Balls from Brilliant Stars, and you will know last year, me and David were talking a lot about the Chenpao EXs from Paldea Evolved. So it was 4 different countries that give out the English language cards. It was Singapore, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. And each of these would have the promo cards with their country written on them. So when it was giving out, an Iono for entering tournaments, there would be 4 different Ionos. They'd have one for each country. Well, starting with this season, that is no longer the case. The promos are now standardized, so they will just feature the event logo and won't mention which country they originated from. And while we know Philippines, Singapore, and Malaysia will be still getting these English language promos, it's a little bit up in the air for Hong Kong at the moment. The website for Hong Kong is still listing the English language promos for their events, but there is no longer just a Hong Kong English tournament series. They've actually just combined both of the tournament series that were in Hong Kong, and you play one tournament, but you can choose to either play a deck in traditional Chinese or in English. Because of that, I think we'll have to wait until their first tournament actually happens before we know for definite what language they're getting their promo cards in. So let's talk about how their year of tournaments is going to look. The tournaments are going to be split up into 4 different types: Premier Ball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, and Master Ball. Premier Ball is going to be a big tournament, a big one-off tournament in each country that kicks off their season, and then they're going to go into Great Ball and Ultra Ball leagues, which are going to alternate every month. There's going to be 3 Great Ball and 3 Ultra Ball league sessions or league seasons throughout the year. The wording is a little bit ambiguous as to whether each season is just one event or whether it's a series of events. So we don't know for definite if it's just 3 Great Ball events in each country and 3 Ultra Ball, or whether each Great Ball event as listed is going to have multiple actual tournaments within it. We'll know a bit more on that in the future. The year will then end with the Master Ball tournament, which is going to be 1 tournament in each country, is going to kind of act like their equivalent of nationals. So as I said, we're kicking off with the Premier Ball events, and those are still a bit staggered. The Philippines had theirs just this weekend as I'm recording this. I believe Singapore has theirs next month, and then Malaysia doesn't actually have theirs until the start of December. What was announced a little while back on the website for the tournaments were the promos for the event. So participants in the event were going to get a fan Rotom, and then top 4 finishers of the event would get Terapagos EX. Both of these cards are from Stellar Crown, and they both feature that Premier Ball tournament logo. And like I said, that tournament logo will be consistent across all of the countries. With the Philippines, Singapore, and Malaysia all having age divisions, that means if just those 3 countries are running it, there will be 36 copies of the Terapagos total. And if Hong Kong does get them, they will have 40 copies total, because Hong Kong only has 1 age division, so there will still just be 4 extra from Hong Kong. And then this is where all of the extra news started coming in, because as I said, over the weekend, the Philippines was running their tournament. First thing we found out is, as the tournament started, we found out from Primetime Wiz, who tweeted this out, that the fan Rotom was actually a Cosmos foil, which is very, very nice. Previously, all of the event entries have been either the non-holo trainers or just the standard foil Ultra Ball, so it was really nice to see the Cosmos foil fan Rotom. The next revelation, a couple of people mentioned this. This image that I'm about to use comes from Cypher on Twitter, so thanks to him for this one. It turns out the fan Rotom has a judge version, so similar to, staff stamped cards that we get everywhere else in the world, except that this has the word judge printed on it underneath the Premier Ball logo. We already knew that some other Asian countries that don't use the English language promos were going to get judge promos, because we've seen the image going around of the Tatsugiri in a few different languages with the judge symbol on it. But when the judges were given these at this event in the Philippines this weekend, that was the first time that we learned that this was going to be there for the English language cards too. Obviously, this is a lot harder to tie down than the Terapagos in terms of number, because there's going to be varying amounts of staff at different events, and it's not always going to be totally consistent with how many are given out. But I would estimate that there's going to end up being a total of around 50 to 100 copies of these. Now, as I say, we should expect to see pretty much exactly the same stuff coming out of Singapore and Malaysia when they get their tournaments, and potentially Hong Kong as well. Now, if we look on to the other tournaments, Great Ball and Ultra Ball have had their participation and top 4 promos announced. Master Ball hasn't yet, what with it being way at the end of the year. I think the earliest Master Ball one is around end of April, early June, so we'll know more on Master Ball a bit later. So for the Great Ball events, the entry promo is going to be Earthen Vessel. Now again, we're going to have to wait until these tournaments start happening until we know if A, are these going to be Cosmos foil as well, and B, is there going to be a judge version of this? I would guess probably, since we've already seen one from the Premier Ball event, but it could be because these are smaller events, maybe they don't do that. And then the top 4 promo for the Great Ball event is Pidgeot EX. Now, as I said, with that slightly ambiguous wording on these events, we don't know how many of these are going to be out there. It is going to be a minimum of 108 copies if that is, just the 3 countries running 3 events each. So the floor on it is 108 copies, could potentially be more if we end up with more events being run. Ultra Ball, we are in a bit of a similar scenario. The entry promo is Professor Turo's scenario. Again, don't know if this will be foil, do not know if there will be a judge of this, we will find out. And then the top 4 card for the Ultra Ball League, even though this one is not going to be anywhere near as rare as Terrapagos, or as rare as whatever the top 4 is for the Master Ball event, I believe this is going to be the most desirable one. Because the top 4 card for the Ultra Ball events is Mew EX from the 151 set. Now, if you've listened to any of the stuff I've done in the last year and a half, or any of the stuff I've done with Dave, we've talked about how 151 is a set people are not just trying to finish, they're trying to master set. This is the set where they want every variant. It's why the 2 versions of the Professor Voltorb are skyrocketing at the moment, because people are actually wanting to try and complete that master set. And this Mew card, even though there's going to be at least 108 copies, so there's way more copies than there are of that Mentor Cosmos Professor Voltorb, the fact that it's only been given out in these countries which, it's not as easy to buy cards from. The Cosmos Voltorbs were given out all in North America. Generally, the people who are collecting 151 will have more access to North America than they will to Philippines, Singapore, or Malaysia. So that's going to be the one to watch out for. I believe the earliest Ultra Ball events are starting late December, so that is potentially when we're going to start seeing some hit the market. But also because of the fact that it's at multiple events, it is going to be staggered over about a 4 or 5 month period at least. So it's not going to be like all of them are going to hit the market at the same time. Now, as I said, it's similar to Great Ball events where the wording is slightly ambiguous, so the 3 events per country is the absolute floor. We don't know if there are going to be multiples of these held in each country. Hopefully there are, because it will mean that the Mew is a lot more readily available. I know, because I really want one out of these cards. I thought it was going to be the Terrapagos I was after, because I love Terrapagos. But no, I'm also going to really be wanting to chase this Mew to finish off that 151 master set. So that's it. That is my roundup of the recent news. Like I said, we'll have one of these videos probably about every 2 weeks, where we're just going to sum up the news. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this style of video. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if there's something you're going to enjoy tuning into in the future. Sorry to all of the 151 Master Set collectors whose day I've just ruined by telling them about that Mew, but hey, I feel it with you. Hopefully it's not too much longer before we know a bit more information about those Great Ball and Ultra Ball tournaments. By the next one of these, I should hopefully have at least got my hands on the Surging Sparks pre-release kits and on the new EX Battle decks, so we can go through variants and stuff from those. But hey, thanks for watching. Again, let me know your feedback in the comments, and I'll see you again very soon.
We would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who chooses to support the DJ Gigabyte channel on Patreon. Join us to help out and get a look behind the scenes.
Thanks for watching. Check out some more videos right here.
And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome Pokemon content from DJ Gigabyte.
Gotta catch 'em all!